Join me as we learn together Chitas for Tuesday, Parshas Toldos, the third Torah reading of Parshas Toldos, chapter 26, verse 13. Yesterday we learned as Yitzchak was settled in the land of the Philistine, he was getting along with Avimelech, that he was planting, and he was very successful, made 100-fold. Today we continue with the encounters that Yitzchak and Avimelech have. Verse 13. Vayigdal ish, and the man prospered very well. Vayelech holich v'gadol, and continued to prosper until he became extremely ad kigadol miyed, until he became extremely wealthy. Rashi kigadol miyed, shahayu emrim, that they would say, zevel pirdeisav shel Yitzchak, the waste of the mules of Yitzchak, v'leikaspa yuzahavi shel Avimelech, and not about the gold and the silver of Avimelech. That means when people would say how much wealth, what was considered wealth, they wouldn't talk about the wealth of Avimelech, about his gold and silver. They would say it was like the amount of waste that even just his mules come, that's how much he has. And that's the way they would talk about in numbers to be able to say how much a person had. Verse 15. Verse 14. And he had lots of cattle, lots of flock. Bakar, and the herds of flock. Vavuda Rabba, and many enterprises. And of course, this caused jealousy that the Philistine envied him. Vavuda Rabba, what does it mean, Vavuda Rabba? A Pu'ula Rabba, that he had a lot of businesses, vineyards, fields. Beloshim Belaz Ubriya, Avoida Mashma Avoida Achas, one type of work. Uvda, Avuda Mashma Pu'ula Rabba, a lot of action, meaning telling us many different types of activities, many businesses that he had. Because they envied him, what happened? Verse 15, and all those wells that were dug by the servants of Avram in the time of Avram, Sitmum Plishtim, the Philistine blocked them. And they filled them with earth. Verse 15, Rashi, Sitmum Plishtim, being that he's telling us about Yitzchak and how Yitzchak went on to dig the wells of his father. So, being that they said, Takala, these wells are a stumbling block, they're a problem for us. It's because of the soldiers that are coming, that are coming to fight with us. Meaning, because these wells were giving water to all the different places. Tamun Plishtoi. So, therefore, what did the Pelishtim do? Lashin Stima, they clogged them. Kalishna Talmud, like the Talmud uses, metamtim alev, that when somebody eats something not good, it blocks the heart. He is not able to think properly or feel properly. So too, they blocked these wells. 16. Vayomer Avimelech al Yitzchak, and Avimelech tells Yitzchak, Leich meimanu, go away from us, ki yatzamta mimenu miyoid, because you have become more powerful than we are. Verse 17, Vayelech misham Yitzchak, and Yitzchak went away from there, Vayicha benachal Gror, and he camped in the Gror valley, Vayeshav Sham, and he settled there. What's benachal Gror? Rashi tells us, Ryochik min ha'ir, far away from the city. Because he didn't want him to be there, so he went away far from the city. Verse 18. Vayeshav Yitzchak, and Yitzchak then settled. Vayoshav Yitzchak, Vayachber Speir Samoim, and Yitzchak then redug the wells of water Asher Chafru b'mei Avram that were dug in the days of his father Avram. Vayisatmum Plishtim, and then the Plishtim had blocked them up. Achrei Mois Avram, after Avram died. Vayikrolem Shemus Kashemus Shekarla Aviv, and he gave these wells the same names that his father gave them. Verse 18, Vayosha Vayachber. What is this referring to? Those wells, those wells that his father's servants dug in the days of his father, in the days of Avram, his father. Uplishtim sitmum, and these were the wells that were next to the city of Gror, and the Plishtim blocked them. So before Yitzchak traveled from Gror, he continued to redig them and call them the same names that his father gave them. Verse 19. And then Isaac's servants, then Yitzchak's servants, then dug elsewhere, Banochal, in the Gror valley, and they found a well of fresh spring water there. Verse 19. Verse 20. And the shepherds of Gerar had an argument, quarreled with the shepherds of Yitzchak, Lamer saying, Lo amayim, the water belongs to us. The water that you discovered is ours because since we use this land to pasture our flock. Vayikra Shema Be'er, and they call the name of that well Esek. Esek. Why did they call it Esek? Kihis asku imoy, because they had a contend with him. They called it Esek, which means contention, because they had a contention. People were complaining about it. As we see in Rashi, the word Esek comes from the word Irur. They had an argument about whose ownership it was. Kis asku imay, who were the ones that were arguing? The shepherds of Gerar were arguing with Nis asku imay, which arguing with Yitzchak about the ownership of this well. Vimriva ve'irur, with an argument and a complaint saying who it belongs to. Verse 21. So what they did was, they went on and dug another well. And they started arguing about that one as well. So they called that one sitna, which means harassment. Rashi, if you look to verse 21, what does the word sitna mean? Comes from the word noshiment, which means in this case harassment, not allowing them or trying to stop them from digging. Verse 22. Vayatik misham vayachber be'eracheres, and they moved from there and they dug yet another well. But when it came to that one, there was no fight over it. And therefore they called that well the name Rechovis, which means open spaces. And they said, Ki ata irchiv Hashem, for now God has granted us ample space to expand. That's why Rechovis comes from the word hirchiv. Hirchiv lanu, to expand. Ufarinu ba'aretz, l'hirchiv Hashem lanu, God gave us the place to expand. Ufarinu ba'aretz, and to flourish materially in the land of Israel. As Rashi puts it, kitargumay v'nifush ba'aro, that now we can continue to expand in the land of Israel. This concludes the Torah reading for the third Torah reading of Parashas Toldos.